Gong Hei Fat Choi. Do you remember what that means? We say it means Happy New Year in Cantonese, but really it means celebration and happiness, which is what you greet people with in Chinese New Year. Now, this week is Chinese New Year, and it's not in January, the same as ours. In fact, it moves every year. It's a different date, so you have to keep an eye on that if you were living in somewhere where they celebrate Chinese New Year. The first thing I want to talk to you about is not all people who look Chinese are Chinese. Okay? Because not everybody who lives in Scotland looks like me or like you. So we are all different. Here is a picture of somebody. There we go. This was my Amma. This was my lady that used to look after me when I lived in Singapore. And look at her. Does she look Chinese? She does a bit. But actually, she's from Malaysia. And Malaysia is here on my map. This is Singapore, where we lived. This is Malaysia. Oh, pussycat jumping on me. This bit here is China with the panda bear. Taiwan, North Korea, and South Korea, and the Philippines, and Vietnam, and all these countries in Indonesia. Some of the people can look Chinese, but that doesn't mean that they are Chinese. Okay? So don't go assuming. Most people speak Cantonese, which is what Gong Hei Fat Choi is in. It's in Cantonese. So even though they live in different countries, they can chat to each other because they all know the same language. They might know another one, but they mainly know Cantonese. Okay? Now, what would we find in China proper? China's famous for a few things. Panda bears. We first discovered panda bears living in China in big bamboo forests because panda bears like to eat bamboo and they're very lazy, and if they're sitting in a forest of bamboo they can just pick a bit and have a chomp on it. You do that for a lot of hours in a day. China's also famous for a huge big wall that goes nearly all the way around the country. You can walk bits of it. And that was to stop people coming into their country with their weapons. They didn't want people attacking them, so they built a huge wall, and the soldiers used to stand on the wall and keep guard. Now, they don't use it for that anymore. Now it's just nice to go and see and have a walk on. Okay. My picture of China also shows mountains. Great big, can you see them? Great big mountains with snow on the top. Because the very top of the mountains are very, very high, and it gets very, very cold up there. It gets very cold in China in the winter. Very cold. Yeah. And they also have factories. Okay, so they have factories and buses and shops and all the things that we have. Okay. So I want to talk to you about these. Who knows what these are? Yes, that's right. They're chopsticks. Now, nowadays, a lot of people in China and Chinese people use knives and forks like us because they've got used to it. But long ago, when we were using wooden spoons, even before that, the Chinese worked out that if they took two sticks, and they could not have to be special sticks on the shop, no, they used to take any two sticks and they would make them. Okay, maybe the daddies would make them for his children. And they discovered, because when they were working in the fields, there were no shops. And there was lots of them working in the shop, so they used to cook up some rice together and put it in little bowls, sometimes in their hands. And then they would use two sticks, any two sticks, or maybe they had made them knives like these ones, and they would use them to eat. Now, we think this is very rude, but it's not rude if you come from China. But they hold their bowl really close to their chin so nothing drips out, and they just eat like that, usually really fast, like that. Okay, and they don't talk when they're eating. Oh. We don't do that. We keep our plate on the table, excuse me, and we use our knife and fork, don't we? That's right. Because, different people have different ways of doing things. That's fine. Now, if you've got a pair of chopsticks at home, okay, maybe you could try picking up some things, maybe some wool, or maybe some bits of Lego. That's a tricky one, I'd like that. Or anything else. And if you haven't got chopsticks, maybe you could just try and find 2 sticks, because that's all they are, really. Okay, right, we've talked a little bit about the things that we find in China. Now, when they're celebrating Chinese New Year, they clean their houses top to bottom, get rid of all last year's bad luck, and have a nice clean house to welcome in the new year. Okay, the children are given a little present. It's a little red envelope, and they pop some pennies in it. And the children are given that to go and spend on what they like. It's a wee treat, because they don't get much pocket money otherwise. Okay, and they have lanterns. Have you made your lantern? Oh, I bet it looks super. If you haven't, don't worry about it. And they let off firecrackers. That used to frighten me when I was little. It really did. Because they let them off all over the place, in the streets, everywhere. It's a little bit dangerous. We're not allowed to do that in our country, because we have to keep it a bit safer. Do you hear that pussycat crying? I hear you, Susie. Just give me a minute, please. So, you see what else you can find out about Chinese New Year. Okay? And see, is there anybody you know that celebrates Chinese New Year? There might be some people in Rosyth that do. Let me know. Bye.